I knew something was off the second I walked into HR. Brenda had that fake calm look, the one people wear right before they hit you with bad news. And sitting next to her, Calvin Dent, corporate shark, tailored navy suit, silver cufflinks, not a speck of dust on him. He looked like a mannequin from some overpriced mall store. Never trusted him, not once. My name's Frank Mathis. I'm 48, divorced, father of 2 teenage boys, and for the past 9 years, I've been the head of regional operations at Dynaform Logistics. This was a regular Wednesday. I'd just gotten off the phone with a major client about renewing their multi-year freight contract. Things were solid, or so I thought. Brenda gestured for me to sit. Calvin didn't say a word, just leaned forward and slid a paper across the table. No greeting, no small talk. Like I was getting written up for being late to homeroom or something. I picked it up. $58,000, down from $142. Effective immediately? We're adjusting compensation to reflect structural realignment, Calvin said. His tone was all business, like he thought I should thank him for the clarity. That corporate smugness oozed off him like cologne. My ears went quiet, like somebody had just shot a gun in a closed room. I saw his mouth moving, but I didn't hear half of it. My blood was pounding way too loud. I forced a nod. I'll need a day to consider. I stood, shook their hands like some idiot clinging to professionalism, then walked out without another word. No yelling, no drama. Just a sick, empty feeling crawling up my throat. Quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. In the parking lot, I sat in my Ford with the AC off, sweating through my shirt. The sun was beating down on the windshield, but I couldn't move. My hands were still resting on the wheel, but I couldn't drive. Couldn't even think straight. 9 years. 9 damn years I gave them. All those late nights, the weekends, the travel, the time I missed with my kids, and they handed me a pay cut like it was a parking ticket. I sat there for almost an hour. Then I turned the key, pulled out of the lot, and didn't look back once. I drove home on autopilot, didn't even remember the streets I turned on. I just ended up in my driveway, staring at the garage door like it owed me something. I didn't go inside right away. Sat there gripping the steering wheel, knuckles white, trying not to scream. My kids weren't home yet. School didn't let out for another hour. But I knew if I walked in that door looking the way I felt, I'd scare the hell out of them. So I waited and thought about how it all started. Dynaform was nothing back then. 15 of us packed into a shared industrial space in Joliet, Illinois. Rusted coffee machine in the corner. No real HR. No benefits for the first 6 months. Jerry, our founder, used to joke that we were one power outage away from folding, but we believed in what we were building. I wasn't some clock in, clock out guy. I put in real time. Skipped every vacation for 5 years straight. Stayed in the office during snowstorms when no one else would show up. My title changed every few years, client rep to regional lead to ops director. I climbed, sure, but the work stayed the same. I kept our biggest logistics accounts alive, 5 of them. Together they made up over 60% of our revenue. And I didn't just handle them, I built them. From cold calls and site visits to late-night phone calls when shipments got stuck halfway across the country. Then came Carrie, or I should say, then went Carrie. She met this smug life coach at some dumb personal development seminar and decided Portland was calling her. Packed a bag and left. Just like that. Left me with Joey and Ryan and a note on the fridge that said, I need to find myself. So no, the job wasn't just a job anymore. It was everything. It was my health insurance, my stability, my proof I hadn't completely lost control of my life. And then Jerry sold us out. Global resources, he said. More tools, better reach. Sure, Jerry. You also walked with $2.8 million in cash and never looked back. My shares got revalued and shoved into a new vesting schedule. 4 more years before I saw a cent. I should have known then. Classic bait and switch. Once Transglide Holdings came in, the chopping block started spinning fast. First it was the junior guys, then admin, then my assistant, Laurel, who'd been with me for 6 years and could juggle 5 client schedules blindfolded. They cut her for redundancy, then made me absorb her work on top of my own. Then they gutted middle management. I had 3 direct reports. Suddenly, I was the only one standing. And somehow, that made me the problem. Calvin started slipping phrases like agility and nimbleness into every meeting, like I was some dinosaur clinging to outdated ways. You know what I was clinging to? Results. My clients didn't care about efficiency. They wanted trucks to show up on time and shipments to clear customs without delay. They wanted a phone number they could call when things went sideways, and that number was mine. But that didn't matter anymore, because this wasn't about efficiency. It was a purge. They didn't want my clients. They wanted my absence. The minute they handed me that $58,000 insult, I knew exactly what this was. They didn't have the balls to fire me outright. Too messy. Might spook the clients, so they hit me with a cut so deep I'd have to walk away on my own. Less severance, less liability. It was clean, cold, calculated, and I swear to God, the worst part wasn't the money. It was realizing that all those years I thought I was building something, that I was part of a team, that I mattered, was just a story I told myself to make. The long nights and missed holidays feel worth it. I was still gripping the steering wheel like it was the last solid thing in my life. Mortgage was due next week. Joey's orthodontist had just sent a second notice. Electric bill sitting on the kitchen counter. I had maybe 2 months' worth of savings, 3 if I started skipping meals. I leaned my head back, shut my eyes, and tried to breathe through the panic. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. For a second, I thought about letting it go. Last thing I needed was another scam call or some recruiter trying to sell me a gig in the middle of nowhere for $40,000 and a promise. But something made me swipe. Hello? Hey, Frank. It's Cam Torres. You remember me? I sat up. Yeah, Cam, of course. He'd worked sales out of our Denver branch back in the day. Slick, fast-talking guy with a brain for numbers. I always liked him. We worked together before I jumped ship to Redline, he said, like I needed reminding. Been trying to reach you on LinkedIn. You still checking that? I hadn't touched LinkedIn in months. Probably still had the old profile photo with the Dynaform logo cropped in the corner. I've been a little distracted, he laughed. I heard. Words getting around my stomach twisted. He didn't pause long. Look, Frank, we're expanding fast. Real fast. And I told my VP you were the one keeping Dynaform's top clients from jumping ship. She's been asking about you. I didn't answer right away. My head felt like it was full of wet cement. You okay? Yeah, I said. Just a lot right now. I get it. No pressure. But if you're open to talking, come meet us tomorrow. Just breakfast. Mally's Diner. 8 a.m., old school neutral ground. I looked up. Dynaform's building sat across the lot, same as it always had. But it looked different now, lifeless, like a shell. The fake plants in the windows, the stupid rebranded logo, Transglide slapped on after the buyout. All of it made me sick. Yeah, I said. Tomorrow's good. What time? He chuckled. 8 sharp. Bring your appetite. We hung up, and for the first time all day, I didn't feel paralyzed. I went straight home, pulled the old file box out of the hallway closet, and dumped it on the kitchen table. Found my original contract, the amendments, the post-acquisition update. Read it twice just to be sure. No non-compete. No clause about customer contact post-departure. They'd never cleaned up the legal paperwork after the acquisition. Too busy cashing in their options and the gutting payroll. That was their mistake. I sat there for hours, flipping pages, reading between every line. If Cam was serious, and I had no reason to think he wasn't, I needed to be ready, not hopeful, not desperate. Ready. I made a list. Clients I'd built, contacts I'd kept off company servers, vulnerabilities. I knew Dynaform couldn't patch because I'd warned them about it a dozen times, and they'd never listened. This wasn't about jumping ship. This was about leverage, and for once, it was mine. I pulled into Mally's 15 minutes early, parked around the side, and sat there watching the front window. Classic truck stop diner. Smelled like burnt bacon and strong coffee even from the parking lot. Inside, it was the usual crowd. Truckers, old guys flipping through newspapers. A waitress named Cheryl who'd worked there since forever. Cam was already in a booth near the back. He wasn't alone. He stood when I walked in. Frank, you remember how to get here, huh? The woman across from him stood too. Slim black blazer, dark jeans, no jewelry except a watch. Confident, clean. Didn't waste time on extras. This is Lisa Avery, Cam said, Vice President of Partnerships. She shook my hand firm and fast. Cam tells me you're the reason Dynaform has been so damn hard to chip into. I slid into the booth across from them. I've been called worse. She cracked a smile, just barely. So, tell me what happened. I didn't hold back. Gave them the whole mess. The buyout. The gutting. My assistant getting cut. The 60% slap in the face. And how they were about to start offshoring client services without telling the clients a damn thing. Cam kept nodding like he already knew most of it. Lisa didn't flinch once. Just listened. No notebook. No fake sympathy. She looked like someone who'd seen corporate bloodbaths before. When I finished, she tapped a folder and slid it across the table. Here's what I came to offer. I opened it. Director of Regional Growth, 155K base, 20% performance bonus, full benefits, no relocation, 25K signing bonus if I started within 10 days. I stared at the number. My throat went dry. Why me? I asked. Lisa leaned in slightly. Because you've kept 5 high-volume clients alive at a company that's falling apart in real time. Because we've tried to flip those clients 3 separate times, and they wouldn't budge. And because Cam says you're the only reason Dynaform still has a Midwest footprint. I blinked. Close the folder. What's your expectation if I come on board? No miracles, Lisa said. But I want you in front of our next 10 prospects by Q2. And I want your mind on our largest churn risks. You've lived the battlefield. I don't need another executive with a LinkedIn hobby. I need someone who knows how to move freight and keep clients from panicking at 3 a.m. I looked at Cam. He gave me a small nod like, this is real, man. That folder wasn't bait. It was respect. The kind I hadn't felt in years. I sat back. I'll give you a final answer in 24 hours. Lisa didn't push. That's fine. But I need to be clear. This is a one-window opportunity. If you say no, we move on. I understand. We shook hands again. Hers was colder this time. Business mode. Cam added, text me if anything changes. We'll keep the door warm. I stepped out into the morning light, folder tucked under my arm, coffee still untouched. And for the first time in a long damn time, I felt something close to steady. I walked into Dynaform the next morning, in my usual polo and slacks. Nothing flashy, nothing to tip them off. Just my work badge, a folder under my arm, and one hell of a calm face. Calvin and Brenda were already in the conference room, sipping coffee like they were about to hand out a promotion. Frank, Calvin said, all fake chipper, have you decided to accept our generous offer? I sat down, didn't even bother opening my folder. Got a couple quick questions first. He leaned back, smiling like he owned the building. Go ahead. Who's taking over the Midwest Consolidated account? He blinked. And who's handling the CenturyLink reroute in October? Brenda shifted in her seat. Calvin waved it off. We'll redistribute. The structure is leaner now. You won't be burdened with those accounts, I leaned in. Is it true you're outsourcing client ops overseas? Her eyes jumped to Calvin. He blinked. That's confidential. So yes. He didn't respond. I stood. I'm out. Effective immediately, Calvin's smile dropped. That's not how this works. It is under my original contract. 1 week notice or none at all in the case of a major pay reduction. Which this is. Brenda opened her mouth. I raised a hand. Save it. I've already accepted another offer. Calvin narrowed his eyes. Where? Redline. He went pale. Brenda froze like someone had just pulled the fire alarm. He pushed back from the table. We'll be reviewing your system logs. You know that, right? Any sign of data breach, we'll pursue legal action. Go ahead, I said. I took nothing. But those clients? That trust? That's mine? Brenda glanced between us like she was watching a car crash. I tucked the folder under my arm and walked to the door, paused with my hand on the knob. You could have just been honest, I said without turning. You wanted me gone. You just didn't have the guts to say it. Calvin didn't answer. I stepped out, walked past the front desk, past the break room, past the wall of fake awards from 5 years ago. Every step felt lighter. I didn't look back. I didn't even make it to my desk before they showed up. Tommy leaned on the edge of my cubicle like he already knew. Rage stood next to him, arms crossed. Devin was a few steps back, quiet but wide-eyed. It true? Tommy asked. You're leaving? I nodded once. Check your inbox in an hour, all of you. No point making a scene, no speeches, just facts. I grabbed a cardboard storage box from under my desk, tossed in a few files I'd kept on paper, backup notes on client workflows, nothing proprietary, couple pictures of the boys from a warehouse visit, and the chipped white mug Laurel had given me years ago, the one that said "The Fixer" in black bold letters. Security showed up before I was even done packing. Clipboard guy in a tucked-in polo, trying not to make eye contact. "Standard protocol for high-level departures," he said like it was nothing personal. But it was. They walked me out like I was holding stolen diamonds in my sock. I didn't say goodbye to anyone, didn't shake hands, just kept walking. That afternoon, I made 3 calls. First one went to Cam. "Hey," I said, "I'm in." "No hesitation?" he asked. "None." "Send the paperwork." "Done." Next call, Jerry. He picked up on the second ring. "Frank, you sold us out, man." Silence. I kept going. "You walked with your payday, and they gutted everything we built." "And you know what they offered me? A 60% cut and a smile." Jerry let out a long sigh. "I didn't know it was that bad." "I'll call the board. You're late," I said, and hung up. Third call was to Adam Lutz, COO at Midwest Consolidated. He answered like always, straight to the point. "Frank, just wanted you to hear it from me. I'm no longer with Dynaform." That made him pause. "Where you headed?" "Redline." Another pause, then a low whistle. "Well, that changes things." It did. I didn't cold call anyone, didn't fish for sympathy or start a smear campaign. I just logged off and moved on. But over the next week, the inbox started lighting up. First, it was CenturyLink. Their rep emailed me at my personal address, asking who their new contact was and why no one from Dynaform had reached out. Then Midwest Consolidated looped in 4 execs to a single thread and demanded a call with someone who actually knows the operation. Then 3 more clients. No gossip, no finger pointing, just questions, legit questions. "Where's Frank? Who's handling our account? Why weren't we told? Can we get the same level of service?" By the end of the month, 2 of them made the jump. One signed a short-term trial contract with Redline. The other flat out terminated their renewal clause with Dynaform and sent over a letter of intent. I didn't even have to pitch them. I just kept my phone on and answered when it rang. The first shot came in 3 days after the second client moved. Redline's legal forwarded me an email from Dynaform, signed by Calvin himself. Long-winded, loaded with accusations. Claimed I'd removed proprietary client data and violated post-employment confidentiality. Basically said I'd stolen their book of business. Lisa looped me in immediately. "You touch anything after you left?" she asked. "Not a damn thing," I said. "Didn't even take a stapler." "Good. Our legal team's got..." This Cam jumped on the next call, all fired up. "Let's bury the bastard." And we did. Redline's lawyers pulled system logs, badge scans, time-stamped emails. Built a clean, airtight timeline, proving I hadn't accessed anything after walking out that door. It wasn't just overkill, it was precision. They sent it to Dynaform's legal with a smiley little footnote. "Any further defamation attempts will be met with legal response." After that, silence. Then came Jerry. I didn't expect him to actually follow through, but to his credit, the man flew in, showed up at the regional office and called a full leadership review. Word traveled fast. I didn't have to ask questions. One of my old contacts in accounting texted me, "Calvin's toast." A week later, it was official. Calvin was pursuing new opportunities, which is corporate speak, for he got canned so hard they probably changed the locks. Brenda didn't last much longer. They said it was HR realignment, but let's be honest, she got dragged under with him. Dynaform also reversed course on the overseas transition. Quietly, of course, no big announcement, but suddenly ops leads were being offered retention bonuses, pay bumps, stability initiatives. Too little, way too late. Most of the good people were already gone. The ones who stayed, distrust was baked in. They were just waiting for a decent exit ramp. Meanwhile, over at Redline, I got to work. Cam gave me full autonomy to build my own team. First hires were easy, Tommy and Raj. They didn't even ask for the offer details, just said, "When do we start?" Devin stayed behind. His wife had just landed a solid position at Dynaform HQ, and I respected that. I told him the door was always open. We hit the ground fast. I gave Tommy the CenturyLink account and let Raj take lead on Midwest. Within 2 months, we had 3 new accounts in the pipeline and solid footing with the 2 we'd already pulled over. No tricks, no poaching, no desperation. We just showed up, answered the phone, and delivered what we said we would. Trust did the rest. 3 years went by fast. I was sitting in my corner office at Redline, window view, real desk, no fake plants, when it hit me. I wasn't surviving anymore. I was living. They made me VP of Strategic Logistics last year. I've got a team of 18 now. Most of them came from places just like I did. Burned out, overlooked, tired of being told they were replaceable. Not anymore. I run my schedule, 2 days in office, 3 at home, no micromanaging, no forced smiles and pointless meetings. Just work that matters and people who actually give a damn. I'm home for dinner most nights. I coached my youngest soccer team last spring. First time I ever had the bandwidth to do something like that. Last weekend, I took both boys to a Cubs game. We sat third base line. Nachos, soda, the whole thing. Joey still hasn't shut up about it, and I don't care about chasing every extra dollar anymore. I care about doing the job right, building something that lasts, earning respect without begging for it. That's the difference. I ran into Jerry at a trade show last fall. Same gray hair, same quick smile. He walked up, shook my hand like nothing had happened. "I should have fought harder for you," he said. "You built that client engine." I looked him in the eye and smiled. We all make choices. That was it. No hard feelings, just truth. A few months ago, I got a voicemail from Gerald Kavanaugh. Yeah, that Gerald, CEO at Transglide Holdings. Said he wanted to reconnect. Had a unique opportunity and thought I might be the right guy. I never called him back. I keep that pay cut letter in a frame on my office wall, right next to my boys' photos, not out of spite, not to gloat, to remember, to remind myself that no matter how many years you give a company, they'll never value you more than you value yourself. Not once. The real revenge, it wasn't the title, or the salary, or the clients I brought with me. It was walking out on my own terms, not letting them define my worth, and never looking back.